Hi everybody and welcome back to the BizTech Academy and our Excel function series. Today we're going to look at the COUNTIF function and the AVERAGEIF function. These two functions are really useful if you have a large amount of data and, for example, you want to count the number of events within that table, or you want to calculate some averages of the total table or parts of that table. We're going to use a small table in our tutorial where you have some students and some grades, and we're going to do some analysis around that. There's a link to that particular workbook in the description below. If you want to follow along with that, please download it. And of course, if you want to download it afterwards and just analyze the functions themselves, you're more than welcome to. In the meantime, let's start the tutorial. Okay, so what we have here is a small workbook here. We have a list of student names, as you can see, and we have their grades in the last test they did. The pass score of the test is listed as well, which is 70. And we've got 4 student indicators that we want to calculate. We have the number of students passing, so the number of students that are scoring equal to or greater than 70. We want to calculate the average student score from all of the students. And then we want to calculate the average score for the students that have passed and the average score for the students that have failed. And to do that, we will use the COUNTIF and the AVERAGEIF functions. So if we just open the formula builder, as you know, I like to use the formula builder because it shows the mechanics of the function, which I think is very useful for beginners or people just haven't used a particular function before. And we'll look at COUNTIF and we'll insert it. And what you can see here is there are 2 fields. There's a range and there's the criteria. And the range is the data that we are looking for. And what we want to do is we want to find all the scores that are equal to or greater than 70 in that range of B4 through to B14. So we just keep that as a range. And then the criteria. And this can be done in 2 ways. It can be done as simple as greater than or equal to 70. You can just manually type in the 70, calculate done. And as you can see here, it says 6. And if we look, we've got Zhang at 85, Ahmed at 92, Juan at 78. Then we've got Peter at 96, Maria at 99, and Sophie at 74, all above 70, which, if we look at the bottom here, is a count of 6, which is 6, which is great. So we've calculated it and it works. The problem is that if we're going to use this particular pass score for other calculations, which we are as we go through this indicator, and let's say we decide we want to change the pass score to 75 or to 65, we want that to flow through to the calculations. So the best thing to do when you're doing this sort of thing, and we'll go back to the builder, drag it across, is instead of using 70, is reference the cell that you have of the score. And then when you change that score, it will change all of the other calculations. To do that, you need to remove 70 from the actual formula. So the greater than equal to stays in inverted commas. You can see in here it's inverted commas. And then you have to use an ampersand or an and sign, and then put in the reference to the cell or the number, which here is B1. And what that's saying is that for the range, B4 to B14, if it's greater or equal to and 70, then count it. So press done, and it's 6 again. And again, if you just double click, you can see here, COUNTIF, the range, so in that range, what is greater or equal to and 70? And it's 6. And that's it. That's how you use the COUNTIF function. Okay, let's move on to the next indicator, which is the average student score. This is just a simple equal average calculation. There's no if in this. It's just a calculation of the average of this range. So I'm going to type this one in. It's just equal average, open the parenthesis, highlight the range, close the parenthesis, and it gives you a range. So it gives you a result of 73. And if you just highlight this, and again, look at the bottom, you can see the average is 73.1818, which is rounded down to 73. Okay, let's now move on to equal average if, or average if. And what we want to do here is we want to calculate the average of the student's pass score. So the average of all of the students that have got 70 or above. So again, we'll open the builder, we'll drag it across, and we're now looking at search for average if. Click on it and open it up. What we can see here is we've got 3 here. three particular areas. Now, we're actually only going to use two, because what this is, we have a range as usual, so we need to choose the range, which we'll do in a second. We type the criteria in, which we'll do in a moment. And then there is another here, which is average range. And if you look at the description, it says here that the average range are the actual cells to be used to find the average. If omitted, the cells in the range are used. So what that says is that when we put in our range, which we're going to put in all the data we have, right, that is the same as the range that we want to calculate the average from. If, for example, we had a large amount of data and we only wanted to calculate the range from part of that data, we'd put that part of data in this particular cell here. But we're not going to do this in this example, so we'll just omit that for now. So the range, we want to calculate the average from this range, and our formula is, again, it's in inverted commas, it's greater than or equal to, close the inverted commas, right, and again, it's the 70. That's what we want. And if you press done, it comes up with 86. So what that says, if we look at these 6 people again, we just highlight them in here, then the average at the bottom here says 85.66, which is 86 rounded up. And again, we'll just open it up. So the average if of the range is greater or equal to 70, and that's how the calculation works. Now again, if we change this, let's say we change it to 75, in that range we know that Sophia only got 74. You'd expect the average student pass score to change, and you'd expect the number of students passing to change as well. So let's type in 75, and as you can see, that became 5 and that became 88. So it varied based on that single move, which is why it's worth referencing a cell than hard coding it into the actual function itself. Okay, let's undo that, and we'll just do the same now for the fail score. Okay, so we open the builder, drag it across, and again we do average if, and we open it up. We don't want an average range again, so we'll just do the top one, which is our range. And here we want to open the inverted commas, and we simply want less than, and close the inverted commas, use the ampersand to say and 70. So in that range, find everything, average everything that is less than that cell 70. Press done. It says 58. Let's just check it out. So we have this one, 62, Hannah Mohammed, Aiden only got 43, Priya 67, and Sophia 65. And you can see here the average is 58.2, which is rounded down to 58. So there you go. So here we've used the COUNTIF and the AVERAGEIF function to create a couple of indicators, or 4 indicators, for our test. Now, I do want to show you one final thing before we end this, which is a little bit off topic, but another way of doing this, which is really interesting, is using conditional formatting. So if we just copy this data here, and I'm going to get rid of these stripes, these formatting. Just one second, there. Now what you can do in the same range here, if we just use a score, you can go to the Home tab, and then in the middle here you've got conditional formatting. Click on that, and if you then go to highlight cells, let's say greater than, right, and there's an option here then to highlight cells that are greater than a certain number. Now we don't want them greater than 70 because we want to include 70 in our pass score, so we want it greater than 69. And here we choose how we want it filled. We don't want it red because it's actually a good score if you pass the test. We'll have it as green. So press OK. Then what it does, it highlights all of our 6 people that we know in green who passed. We do the same with less than 70. So again, conditional formatting, highlight cells, and we want to go to less than. We'll go to less than 70, and we'll stick with red this time because they failed, and it shows them red. So that highlights it really nicely in a conditional way. Now, final thing, just because I like doing this, is conditional formatting. If you go to data bars, and we're going to use blue data bars here because blue is a little neutral, click it, and what it shows here, then it just pulls a bar across relative to the number. So 92 is the highest, who has the longest bar. 43 is the lowest, who has the smallest bar for Aiden. And it just presents the data in a different way. I actually like that. Some people don't, but I think that's quite cool. Okay, that's it. I hope you found that useful. If you did, it would be great if you can like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and press the alert button. We do release videos every day, so by all means, press the alert and see those. If you do want any specific videos or any functions that you're struggling with or want explaining, just put them in the comments, and I'll see if I can get around to them as soon as possible. But in the meantime, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.